gathered here. This is the 5th anniversary of the Literature Festival Bookstar, organized by the publishing house Antolog. And we are here with Halldora Тородсен, who is a Europe Union Literature Prize winner for her book Double Glazing. I think that was the translation in English. How it was in original, the name of the book?
Tvöfalt gler.
Tvöfalt gler, yeah.
Tvöfalt
I had the opportunity to read the book and I really liked it. Maybe it's because I'm a big fan of the Scandinavian literature, folklore, and especially rock, progressive rock and metal music, but that's a thing that we're gonna maybe slightly mention it here. I wanted to ask you, how is the reading culture in Iceland? Are people reading their book usually as assigned reading in the school, or they are reading for their own pleasure?
They are reading for their own pleasure, but I think the younger generation does not read as much as we did. But we read a lot. I mean, the statistics tell us that we sell a lot of books and read a lot of books. But well, I would think that the younger generation likes more to listen to books.
Audio books, like maybe podcasts or maybe LibriVox,
podcasts and looking at TV series and so on. It's just a feeling. I have no statistic about this.
This was interesting for us because whenever I go in other countries, like let's say Ukraine or Russia or even Bulgaria, which is a neighboring country to our country, they have what is called the Russian heritage of reading. Like people read a lot. Even if somebody is reading, I don't know, Dostoevsky or Chekhov, maybe somebody else will read a biography of some music player or maybe a football player, but actually they want to read a lot. Here in the Balkans, people do not read books unless it's something from the school, like assigned reading, or maybe those, let's say, like a special cult of readers who are reading a lot.
Yeah.
So does Iceland has like a something like a cult towards the book? Or
oh yes. That's. I mean, we stand on a long literary tradition, and literature has been our, well, in first place of arts, during the years, during the centuries, we've been reading and writing. And very strangely, all the way since we started to write, we have written novels. They wrote the sagas in the 12th and 13th and 14th century, and we have very strong, long tradition of poem making, and we have also from oral time kept some memories in poems, even from the time of when people were all moving, from the time of Attili the king, the Hun king. I mean, they kept in their memory, when they didn't write, they kept poems from around 500 after Christ. you see.
Oh.
They brought it with them to this isolated island.
Is that the time when the poetic and the prose Edda were written?
Yes, I'm talking about that. Yes, yes.
Because it's the main thing. This last year, there is a very special TV show, a TV series, Vikings. They're becoming popular, and few of the seasons take place in Iceland, and people kind of got curious about the history, about the Viking history of the Iceland. So they wanted to go through the heritage, to the literature heritage of Iceland. And the first thing is, like, the first book that they have to read is the old and the new Edda, or the poetic and the prose Edda.
Yes,
and in order to understand that culture, and also they need more knowledge into Teutonic Norse mythology. You know, everybody is really. I mean, Thor, Loki, Odin are really big time.
Yes.
Today they are very popular because of the Hollywood movies, but
yeah, that knowledge is kept because of one of our writer in the 1200 and something. He took it all together. Icelanders stopped being heathen in the year 1000. So 250 years later, he writes it all down. I mean, the names of the gods and what they stood for, and of course we don't know everything about heathendom, but he wrote a lot about it, yes. So I think they get their knowledge from that book, which is called Snorra Edda. His name was Snorri. But the other, there is also Eddu Kvæði, Edda poems, and they are talking about times.
There were glorious time of, exploring other countries, maybe raiding, attacking the other countries.
No, it's very much from the time when the whole of Europe and Little Asia was on the move. We don't really know exactly why, but I'll not be telling here a story, but there was a period of nations moving around.
Migrating
period, and those poems, they stem from that time. So some of them, they are about known, some are about Atli, the Han King.
Because I saw in your novel that there were mentioning of some of the old myths and some of the old things from the Icelandic literature, but how much other authors are implementing in their novels or in their short stories those myths, ancient legends, ancient tales inside?
I'm not the right person to tell.
No.
I didn't mention it a lot, did I?
There were several names that there were several names that
aren't they just the names of the people in the story?
No, but I think that they were connected with something from the folklore.
From the
folklore. Or it was something from the interviews. I cannot
I see.
recall.
Yes. But of course, you use your tradition when you write, and also, yes, you use many writers.
Because in our Macedonian modern stories, the myths and the legends are connected with this territory, with these regions, are implemented really big time,
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of our folk heroes are done in a postmodern way. And also, let's say, the stories of vampires, they are very popular in the Balkans, I have to say. I cannot just say Macedonia or Serbia or Bulgaria, but locally in the Balkans they are very popular, and people are trying to put them to make it more interesting for the foreigners. And also, let's say, our folk music.
Yeah.
It's really popular outside, so even if you are the best blues band from Macedonia or from the Balkans, you cannot find the right spot because we are mainly exporting ethno and folklore music.
Ethnic music.
Yeah, it's more like ethnic music.
Yeah. I was trying to find music from Macedonia before I came here. I wanted to listen to some music.
Yeah, I can send you some links, definitely.
And I've mostly found ethnic music, which was, of course, beautiful, but yes. But I don't think Icelanders do that in the same purpose, because you are a country that's very much fighting for identity.
Well, yes, that
world.
has been, like the last century they have been, it has been an issue.
Yes.
So it's basically political thing, but according to the, like all those folklorists, there is a special Macedonian traditional element that has been implemented in the...
Somehow put on a stall.
Yeah.
Yes. Was that right? But we are perhaps a little bit over that, because we had our independence, in 1900, or I don't remember exactly the year, but so we have had 100 years of independence.
Previously was a part of...
Denmark. So, but before that, we were very, very nationalistic. That was a thing to be if you wanted to get independence. And of course, we used literature and we used those weapons that you are using. Both folklore and poems and fighting poems and things like that. We have been there, but we are now just using it for fun, or just to explain history, or make interesting things out of it. A new thinking or something like that, not as a sign of nationality.
So it's not like a fascist thing, like a creating something that is more like superior compared to other cultures.
Yes, it's not in that way. Yeah,
that's great. So, beside writing, you used to be like a supervisor, curriculum coordinator.
Yes.
Something that I really like as a word, because I'm also working in an international school. I also need to write my curriculum, like every year, for Macedonian language and literature. So it's not basically two things that are really opposite of each other. I mean, you were art curriculum and also writing, so you cannot, so you can connect them, right?
Of course, yes. I have two legs, one in each, one practical and one that's creating out of nothing. But I used to say I changed coffee into curriculum. I worked there, yes, the curriculum in arts, Yes, but I have also been teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And
Teaching art, I suppose?
Mostly Icelandic.
Uh-huh.
Although I took art as a main thing in my education. But I have been teaching, well, everything, and also art, but not mainly. And then I worked at the radio in a cultural program. Yes.
Do you miss teaching?
No.
No?
It's lovely to teach, but no, I don't miss it. I've had enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you have to think about all day, you see. You go to sleep and think about what should I have him to do tomorrow, what should I do with this little guy or
who
this
was the
girl.
student who missed the test, he'll now have to do the test. Another student who is sick, he will have to do the test next week, and we have to make a test for all the other students.
So you can't write with it. You cannot do anything else, really. It really takes up all your time. And so I stopped teaching and started writing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because it takes a lot of energy. Definitely, it's something that after that you are really drained and you cannot spend your time writing and maybe do a little bit translation, but all the other things.
Really.
But on the other hand, you really do you miss talking to the whole auditorium of students, and you know that you can change things maybe and maybe motivate them to read more or to talk in a better manner?
Yes, I don't miss it, as I say, but of course it's an interesting job, very, very, and but I've made the decision and I don't miss it. But it is interesting, and you can do a lot of things, I think, in teaching. Sometimes you don't think so.
Being a teacher in our country is something that is like really, if you can find a job as a teacher, because it's a really sophisticated profession. There are a lot of graduated students who cannot find job as a teacher. So really, when you find a job, it's really like hitting a jackpot.
I see.
I don't know. How is that in your country? Because I know that you don't have a lot of unemployment compared to the Balkans.
No, we have not had that problem. Of course, a little bit, but not as much as in Europe, in Middle Europe. But we need more teachers, you see. We are going to try to get people to go into the education of teaching, because we need some more teachers. So it's quite...
Yeah, it's like quite opposite. Yeah.
Quite the opposite.
If only Macedonian language and Icelandic were connected, but it's not. You mentioned that people are reading, writers are writing. So somebody to be recognized as a successful author, how many books in Iceland he needs to sell. I'm talking about just like, like a home selling in Iceland. I do not mention the translating and international fame. How many novels, let's say, if I publish a book, it will be only, let's say, 500 pieces published from my books, and maybe if it's very interesting, maybe there will be another one. So let's say 1,500 books bottom line, but nothing more. So how many books do you need to sell in your country to be recognized as a successful? Yeah. No, okay, not rich, but
I think
successful
you
one.
cannot be very rich, but it depends, If you sell 3,000 books, you can be a good writer, but not necessarily. There are all kinds of books that sell a lot, but perhaps you're not a heavyweight there are some writers are quite good and it's okay for them to sell 500 books. That's okay. They could be successful writers. They get their payment from the state if they are thought to be good writers. They get payments from the state from 3 months to 9 months or 2 years. It differs. A lot of writers have money from the state to write books, so they are not very dependent on sale. But
okay, maybe for the ego. It's not for the money. It's for the ego.
Yes. For the
I was sold in Reykjavik for 20,000.
Yeah. But then don't talk to me about economy. I'm not the best one to tell you how many books you need to sell to be a successful author.
No, it's just more like a number. It's not that.
Yeah. I think it's quite good to sell 900 books. It's a good sale, I think. But I'm not very much into it. I'm probably not very exact on that.
How do you find this prize from the European Union about the literature? How do you find it? Did it change your attitude toward literature? Did it motivate you? Has it motivated you or made you, more?
Well, perhaps not motivated me because I was motivated, but it has really, it's therefore you are reading my book. It wouldn't have been translated unless, now I have been translated, I think in 11 countries, 11 or 12 countries, yes, and that would never have happened if I hadn't got this prize. So my words are flying around the world because of that prize and nothing else, because otherwise nobody would know about this book. So this is, it's really interesting to have your work translated. And it's interesting to meet people from different surroundings and see, to recognize that they understand you And also that they
very
read it in different levels, perhaps. I mean, they notice different things from it. Various countries notice perhaps other things than Icelanders do, and so on. So I have found it very interesting and nice to experience.
Few of these languages are, I suppose, Spanish and Italian, because when I was Googling your work, a lot of information came in Italian.
I see.
Yeah, so it was like, so I don't understand Italian, so I was mainly connected with the English website. I can see that a lot of people, even some of them, were doing a book review on YouTube in Italian.
On YouTube and Instagram also, I'm told.
So it's important to go viral, to be all around the internet, because it's really the best way to advertise yourself and
to sell a book, yes. But if people are reading, if books are translated and if they are read, it is very important communication between space. I mean, it's perhaps such communication goes through space and time. I mean, we are reading old stories that have been translated for us, and it's wonderful that this thing, the book, is a conversation.
Yeah, but it goes from several, there are several stations,
Yes, in a very deep level, much deeper than the internet.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. You have the old Eddas, the poetic Edda, translated into Russian, and maybe one of our scholars from the former socialistic Yugoslavia translated from Russian into Serbian, and from the Serbian language the Macedonians can understand it. So that's how it came, let's say, to my knowledge.
To your knowledge,
Before I even had my, reading in English, because you cannot understand that much. Let's say also the Finland Kalevala.
Yes.
It has been translated into Macedonian, but from Russian, because I don't think that there is somebody in Macedonia who can translate from Finnish language.
Could be though.
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe two now, these last years, but like 20 years ago it would,
But you have been able to read all Russian literature before, when you had all to learn Russian? Or
No. Russian was not our, official language. Maybe it would be like 30 years ago.
30 years ago,
Serbian was the official language of the old Yugoslavia.
Old Yugoslavia,
So that's why a lot of scholars from my generation, they're able to read. But I can say from the conversations with my students who are born after 2005, 2006, they cannot understand Serbian that much, maybe several words, but so it's really interesting that you can put a Serbian guy and a Macedonian guy and they will talk in English. So
they will talk in English.
Yeah.
Although
they can understand each other, even though everybody speaks his own language, they could understand each other. But maybe English is even easier for them.
Yes, so it goes. I noticed because in Bulgaria they published my book, and I got it sent, and I also got the Macedonian.
So you see like both Cyrillic alphabets?
And yes, I don't understand anything, not even the alphabet, but I was looking at words and I saw that I could find, every fourth word or fifth were the same. So I noticed how similar those languages are, but they're perhaps like the language they speak on Faroe Islands and Iceland.
Yeah, so
we can understand written the written language, but not when they start to speak. No.
Nobody when they speak their own dialect. In your novel, I sensed a lot of not influence, but let's say a lot of those pictures came to me. When you are exploring the youth of your characters, when they went to studies and when they go back to their old town and now they see it from a new perspective, just like Tonio Kreger, a novel from Thomas Mann. Just when he went back to his town and he saw all those places that he used to know, but now full with different people. Maybe saw somebody from his childhood who is now old and everything. There was some nostalgic.
You find a nostalgic strike in it.
Yes.
Do, yes.
There is a lot of
course he's
nostalgia in it, but I kind of enjoyed it because even I do that, even though I'm going back to the place where I used to live like only 7 years ago, and I find things change, but somehow I kind of remember what it used to be previously, and I feel both catharsis and at the same time a little bit melancholia about it.
Well, that's perhaps there is some nostalgia in that old woman, but it's not predominant. This book is, it's about one piece of life, but which I wanted to put together somehow in one point. She goes backward and forward and speculates over her life, but I'm of course writing about disempowered, lonesome, old people that have neither role nor no platform in life for their gifts. So she's speculating over about all this. The society has been splitting asunder, always more and more. Little children in one box, old people in one box, and then
there is a gap between them.
Between generations, and then the working people have no time. They're all working, and when the women came to the working place, they didn't in any way, it didn't lessen the work for the men. They should have helped each other and had more time, but the opposite has occurred, and they produce more and more and more, mostly to throw away. Nearly 50% of our production we have to throw away. We produce far too much. But the society is some fabric that should be together, should be interlocked, has yes, it has been teared asunder. Some weave that should be held together, and I think that creates lonely souls, and old people are disempowered. Nobody wants to be old.
Your characters are old only by years and maybe a body as a temple that carries the soul,
Yeah.
but their spirit is eternal. It's youngful. I mean, the old couple they got together. They want to create a family of their own to live together in an apartment.
Yes.
So it's pretty much that somebody who is 16-year-old will do with his
Yes.
girlfriend. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's only they have their migraines, headache. They have prostata problems and everything. But
Yes, of course it's not her first choice, my protagonists. It's not her first choice to repeat the story of a girl meets boy. But you see, they do it to have somebody to talk to, because they are lonely. They seek each other to mirror each other and to tell a story to each other, because everything you do during the day needs a story, doesn't it?
But they had more emotions than, I don't know, like those 70 plus characters had more emotions than, I don't know, somebody who is 16-year-old will be able to, I don't know, show it to somebody else. So
They fall in love.
the youngsters are alienated, and these old people, as you say, they can be really
They fall in love.
cheesy about their love. Yeah.
Yes, I mean they fall in love, but love is a grand concept. It is not only about romantic love between two. Love is also about the gifts we give each other every day, and these old people, they have no platform to deliver their gifts. They are in old people's boxes. They should be in old people's home, but they're healthy still. But yes, they have no one to give their presence, so they fall in love because they need to
Somebody to rely on, somebody to rely on and to give.
and they want to give. They want to give because living is
That's
giving.
the main difference, because they are both givers,
Yes.
and most of those new generations are just takers. They just take, they do not give, they're afraid of commitment, or maybe they're,
Yes.
they're maybe emotionally dead inside.
Somehow this is a great misunderstanding of life.
Yeah.
Life is, happiness is belonging, I think. Belonging and sharing.
In your writing, what is giving you the sparkle, the flames, the thunders to write? Is it like those ordinary tales of people who need love, or it's maybe something huge that needs to happen? Because I think that, at least my impression is that you want to write about ordinary love, just something that is stuck in four walls of one apartment, or you need like a major thunders in your life to write.
No, of course, I also want to give something. To
That's why you write novels. Otherwise, you will keep it for your own.
Yes.
sake.
and both I want to bring messages which I think should be heard, but also aesthetic message, because I like the art of telling story, but what I write about, perhaps I'm a bit. I try to write about, of course, ordinary people, and but I try to find reasons behind what ordinary people do, or decisions that have been made that make ordinary people feel like they feel, and so on. So I am a bit political and philosophical in my writing, although I'm just writing about all people that fell in love. But it has a grip on some other. They are not in empty room. It is connected to everything.
I can see that your way of writing and your books are best to be read with the music of Sigur Rós, Icelandic band that I really like, and it's.
You heard
and I did it, yeah, and I did it. So like I put it on YouTube while reading the book, and it was really like I like that multimedial.
Yes.
Percepting of art. Otherwise, it's only one-dimensional, but this way is multidimensional.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can listen to music, read a book, and even look at something.
Well, yeah, looking at pictures and, I don't know, maybe drinking a national drink.
Yes.
Icelandic, well. Okay, I think that this will be enough. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And I hope you will enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you very much. Very nice talking to you. Oh, well, our audience.